Hey, welcome in,
Yeah,
everybody.
we made it, baby. Another Friday. We lit.
Yes,
We lit.
welcome to the Bleav Cowboys presentation featuring and Jesse Holley, former Cowboy wide receiver Jesse Holley. I'm Jeff Cavanaugh. Welcome, everybody.
Where'd you pull out?
Well, you know our friends Ben and Skin, who are on
Oh,
97.1 The Eagle, who I'm going to be on
yes.
with today from 2 to 5 on the iHeartRadio app. They
Okay,
make songs for everything.
They
So
do.
I have
People don't know that they were rappers back in the day.
Yeah, and they still have production skills. So I need to see if I can pull a part of because you had an intro song for them. I
I
need to see if
did.
I can pull a part of that and then we can fire that off. I got to be careful because I can only play this much. Otherwise, I might get hit with a copyright infringement and they take our money. So
You don't want that.
we just play a little bit,
Yeah.
little bit.
We gotta get the
Welcome in.
We gotta get that first part of Jesse's, like the Jesse's girl. We gotta get this Jesse, and then
Just the
stop
Jesse?
right there. Just the Jesse.
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, we can pull that off. Hey,
Yeah.
Cowboys had OTAs, which the other day I did a video, Jesse, and I said, listen, everything that I'm going to talk about doesn't really matter, but it's worth noting when there was something that happens at OTAs. And then I thought about it. And if anybody is not familiar with the story of Jesse Holley, former Cowboys wide receiver, who was out of football for a year, then went on a reality show, won the reality show, got invited to Cowboys training camp, but not OTAs, and then just kind of walked in as number 90 and made the team and played for 3 years. So I might need to take that back. Maybe the storylines about your starters and OTAs may not matter, but to some people it matters. I bet OTAs were very important to you.
After my first year, yes, they were
Right.
very important. But honestly, no one wanted to hear about me. Like my mom, right? My brothers, they wanted to hear about me, my aunts and uncles. But no one wants to really hear about the guy like so far down in the depth chart that no one cares about that guy. Like no one cared about Jesse Holley. They may have acquired every now and again, like inquire, excuse me. Like, hey, what is he doing? But all people cared about was, hey, what is Tony Romo going to do? How is Anthony Spencer going to come back from that year? And DeMarcus Ware and the Cowboys and this and this and this. So there are some people who care, like your mom, your dad, but overall fans don't care about the Jesse Hollies of the world. And OTAs.
So what Jesse is telling you is we probably won't spend too much time today on Matt Waletzko storylines. We'll probably get past those, but don't worry about it. He's Jesse Holley on the offensive line, hoping to make the team. Shout out to my guys in the super chat, Kilgore dropping bombs as usual, saying hello, and my guy Formula for the pool fund and Party at Jeff. Sorry for not being here much. Been out of town and working a lot. Love you guys. Welcome to the party. So out of the OTA storylines, I saw you tweeting about some of them. Which ones do you actually think are relevant? Because like to me, the first one was, Tyron wasn't there because his back tightened up. And part of me is like, look, it's Tyron. I don't care. Nothing in May matters for Tyron. And then the other part of me is like, but it's his back. And backs and necks freaking terrify me. And I don't think he had a back problem last year. He had surgery. He fixed it, Jesse. Last year, his only injury was when Connor Williams stuck his foot under his foot. I don't think he had a back or neck deal last year. But scale of 1 to 10, Tyron not participating on day one of activities. Fear, worry, concern, 1 through 10.
Listen, if you don't have Tyron missing 3 to 5 games on your bingo board, then your bingo board is wrong. It just is. And we're at this point in time of Tyron's career where since 15 he's not completed a season healthy. That's just what it is. And this does concern me though, Jeff, because there are from my time being around football, there are a couple places where you have surgery where it doesn't get better. Like we may hear that it gets better, it never gets better. Back, neck. When you have surgery in your back and in your there's no surgery that makes your back better. It makes it useful. It makes it less painful. Same thing for the neck. When you're playing this sport at that position, your back never gets better. It literally is downhill from here. When you we've all seen the great Nate Newton, right?
Yeah, Nate walks like I'm going to walk in 15 years.
Look at Charles Haley. Look at guys who have dealt with hips, back, and neck injuries. They don't walk the same. They don't move the same because those things are degenerative injuries. They don't there's nothing that fixes what they do. They make them manageable so you can get through your contract. They make them accessible for you so you can play the rest of your years out. But for Tyron to already have a stiff back in May, that tells me that we're going to see Tyler Smith at tackle a lot earlier than we probably expected.
So that's interesting because I wonder when they picked him, they have tagged Tyler Smith as the future left tackle, right? That's what they think he's going to be or hope that he's going to be.
Correct.
But is that wise for a rookie from Tulsa who technique-wise is not up to par for an NFL player yet to be like, hey, if Tyron's out in week 3, I know we just taught you to play left guard, go back to left tackle. That sounds terrifying to me.
Well, this is the bet that you've made, right? This is the bet that you make when you let La'el Collins go, and now you say we're going to draft a guy and maybe try because it's either Tyler Smith or one of the other guys that's going to be a rookie anyway. That's
Josh Ball, who basically redshirted last year, or they need to sign an old guy that plays tackle.
All the options are terrifying. All the options are inexperienced. All the options are guys who are projects who are trying to make their way to the National Football League or trying to find their footing in the National Football League. But the days of Tyron goes out, we bump Terrence Steele back to left tackle. Tyron Smith's your right tackle. We keep the party going. Those days are done. Those days are done. So now it's either you're going to have to bump Steele back over to left tackle and put someone in that right guard and hope that holds up long enough for Dak Prescott to get the ball down the field. Oh, by the way, that goes back to a thing that we talked about 2 weeks ago with Dak not having really a viable number one in Amari Cooper. He's going to need a little bit more time for these things to develop down the field because you're not going to have Michael Gallup for a little while, and he's going to have to work his way back into things. Washington, I don't know what he's quite going to be. Couldn't crack the rotation that much in Pittsburgh.
And he's in a walking boot.
Is now going to be the target number one, and he's going to face all the number one wide receivers. And Tolbert, he's going to be learning on the fly as well. And, so you have all these things that are happening. And when one guy goes out, what was now a small little thing, a minuscule thing, now becomes the Grand Canyon because it's a ripple effect on how things play out in this offense. And for Dak, we'll get into him a little bit later, but it seems to be that he kind of almost has to have everything perfect for him to be at his best. And if you're talking about his starting left tackle already with a hurt back or stiff back or whatever type of back irritation that he's dealing with right now, that to me is a little bit concerning. And it's the house of cards type thing is you pull that one card away and the rest of that stuff start crumbling down.
And that's why I think this year is going to be not that the front office could ever be held accountable for anything because the GM owns the team. Whatever happens. But even to people like me, who is a front office, I don't use the word apologist, but I give them more credit than most of the world does for fielding a competitive team and drafting and developing and doing a good job putting a team together. This is the first year we were going in and they didn't have to get rid of La'el Collins. They didn't want him here. They didn't have to get rid of Amari Cooper. They didn't want him here. And now I'm looking at it and just Tyron missing an OTA. And I'm like, would they really? They put Josh Ball in, at least for the OTA, because Tyler Smith is learning to play left guard. But this is the first year where I'm going in going, that's your plan? Yeesh. Okay. So yeah, this will be the first year that maybe I'll even get to tee off on the front office. It looks fun when everybody does it online and everything. It looks like a lot of fun to talk bad about people. So I look forward to joining it if these plans of theirs don't work out, because they were not forced to get rid of either of those guys.
Right.
They didn't want them on the team, period. And if that turns out to be bad news bears, then I'll get to talk crazy about the front office, and that'll be fun. I look forward to that. CeeDee grew a half inch.
How?
Well, he's just 23. He's young. He grew a half inch.
When did you stop growing?
18? 19? I'm guessing. I think I was definitely 6'3" when I got to Abilene. So 18, something like that. When did you stop growing? I haven't stopped growing.
I went vertically.
Oh, I'm going the other way now because the knee gets worse and worse and it straightens less and less. So I'm kind of inching my way down. I might be 6'2.5" now.
Shout out to Kevin Gray. I love Kevin Gray because nobody calls Stephen Jones Catboy more than Kevin Gray. And I'm praying for the day that they actually like meet each other and like eat seeds somewhere in Plano or Frisco and like Stephen Jones run down on Kevin Gray and be like, "What you say about me, Catboy, huh? Catboy."
Credit to the great Mike White at Not to Be Tried on Twitter. He is he's the founder of Catboy.
Okay.
KG just has enough hate in his heart that he takes that to the airwaves.
And like he takes to the airways with vengeance.
KG, yes. Kevin, thanks for being here. KG's gotten way more angry in his takes the last few months. I just want to point that out. KG, you found some real fire. I'm just saying. But CeeDee Lamb grew a ½ inch, so congrats to him. I think that's probably a dietary thing, maybe stretching. He said he grew a ½ inch. CeeDee Lamb did not grow a ½ inch.
He did not grow a ½ inch.
In the comments, I need to know, any of y'all get taller at 23, 22? Because I had people on Twitter like, no, really, I did. I grew this. And I'm like, you're lying to me. Except if you have a disease, like Andre the Giant might have kept growing at 23. But like that's as you're creeping towards the disease removing you from Earth. I don't think CeeDee's taller than he was last year.
So, but what was the purpose of CeeDee revealing that information? Like,
I don't know. I'm bigger, stronger. I'm a number one. Watch out now.
And this is just me. And I know people get on me all the time. Jesse, you're a hater. Jesse, you're this. Jesse wakes up in the morning, hate.
True. Very true.
It's all good. It's all good for me. But I am one who've been around enough athletes. Like when you continually have to publicly say something about yourself, to me, this is just to me, that tells me that you're not as confident as we really want you to be.
Okay. Yeah, this is hater stuff. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Yeah, that's hater stuff.
You know?
Yeah. There's a lot of CeeDee Lamb hate out there, so I'm not mad at you for joining the
I know
parade.
that you're a CeeDee Lamb lover. And
yeah, a lot of doubt, a lot of hating, yeah.
And people want us to get into this, and we'll get into it another time. But, like, you know, I think this move for CeeDee is the best thing for him. I thought CeeDee played out of position in the slot. And there's a difference between being a slot receiver and then being able to be a receiver that plays in the slot. There's a complete difference of the two. And I thought at times when you saw CeeDee at some of his tougher points of the season where there was miscommunication or that things were kind of off a little bit, it's because there has to be a different level of knowledge, understanding, patience, skill set to be a prolific slot receiver. I think he's best suited now playing outside the numbers as the number one.
Oh, I think he's going to play a bunch of slot.
Do you?
I think Washington's an outside guy. Washington can't play the slot. Tolbert could play everywhere. Gallup's an outside guy. I actually think CeeDee's the best slot guy. I love it because like the number of times that it might get him killed. It might get him killed because the number of hits he takes, but that dude makes down the field plays.
That's the thing is that when you're playing slot, you're not supposed to take a lot of those kill shots.
Well, Zach likes to gain 20-something yards down the middle and get CeeDee killed, but he'll catch it.
So I think he's more comfortable playing outside. It's going to be now how fast can Tolbert adjust to what the NFL requires him to do as a slot receiver. And I'm not saying that he's going to play 100% in the outside. No, there will be different variations of him mixing it up.
He was about 50-50 last year. CeeDee was about 50-50, slot and outside.
But I just his outside ability to run routes, to me, he's better at that than the patience and the nuances of running the routes from the slot position on the inside. Yes, I get it. The easiest route to run is when they call your seam route, right? Run up the hashes, let them throw out the back shoulder.
Against zone.
right off the ear hole of that dropping linebacker or that DB that's in trail position. Like that's the easiest route to run. But when you talk about like when you watch the Hunter Renfrows of the world and you watch Cooper Kupp and those guys and you know I watch Wes Welker up close and personal do it from the slot and Julian Edelman do it from the slot. It's a little bit of a different. It's a little bit of size matters. That's what she said. But it's a little bit of a different nuance to running that route inside the slot than just your big play, back shoulder seam route.
Jesse, I almost forgot to take care of business, so let me take care of business real quick. I want to let everybody know.
Yeah, Bet online.
Our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. You can't bet on the Mavericks anymore because it's over. So it's football season now. But you can bet on other teams, just not the Mavericks, because DFW sports are now dead. But they got all the latest odds, news, sports developments for the playoffs, Major League Baseball, fights, NFL futures, your continued source for all sports wagering needs, live betting, and the fan favorite Vegas casino and poker games. Use our promo code Bleav over at the website BetOnline or use your mobile device. Promo code Bleav, BLEAV, to get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Took care of business.
My man said someone apparently hooked the Haterade IV up to Jesse. I think the Haterade IV needs to be unhooked.
Yeah, and that's okay because listen, guys, that's why I'm here. Jesse can say all the reckless stuff and be a huge hater, and then I will be honest and reasonable, and I'll get it all. I keep it 100. Jesse keeps it 70.
That's a good one.
That's what he does. So
the best linebacker in football had a birthday.
What?
The best linebacker in football had a birthday.
Micah Parsons?
Yeah, had a birthday yesterday.
Okay, and the best edge rusher in football.
Oh.
Happy birthday to Micah Parsons yesterday. Happy birthday to me in 2 days. Happy birthday to Skin Wade. It was this week. 2
days ago. Like Wednesday?
Maybe. Something like that. What's today?
Friday. We meet every week Friday.
Oh, yeah. Most weeks. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
At 10:30.
Ish.
Right at 10:30. And we've been recording for 18 minutes, so it must be 10:48 right now. Must be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb's locker is now next to Dak. And yes, it's boring and kind of cheesy and corny to talk about, but I do think that's a Dak thing. Like Dak, for all the things you can debate about him, you can't debate that dude is going to do everything he can and do things right. He said, my new number one receiver, put that mofo right here. I take him.
Here
we go. We go.
Or
he was like, that guy doesn't try hard. I need to get him over here so I can teach him.
Or that's the veteran plug of let me get somebody over here next to me so they don't stick a rookie over here by me. I don't want to learn a new guy right now. I like, listen, I'll learn those new guys later, but put someone right by me who I know his habits. I know his ways. I know CeeDee Lamb. I know how he cleans up. I know how his locker is kept. I've watched him from, across the room. That's one of those plays where, my best friend left and I lost one of my dudes. But what's not going to happen is you're not going to put another fat boy by me. And what's not going to happen is you're not going to put one of these rookies by me who might not make the team, or one of these rookies that's going to talk to me to death, or ask me to sign something every single week. So we're
just
not
a weirdo,
huh?
Or just a weirdo.
Or just a weirdo. We're not going to do that. So before I give you guys a chance to throw anyone over here in this corner, I'm going to call my own shot and say, CeeDee Lamb, it's time for you to move your locker over here so I have a familiar face by me and they don't put some L7 weenie over here next to me in this locker and it'll annoy me for the next 7 to 8 months.
See, and that is the way that you could perceive that. Or you had a Haterade IV hooked up. Lamar says Scottie Pippen grew after being drafted. Somebody else said Giannis grew after being drafted. Yeah, but they were like 18. What time? I'm going to look it up. When do humans stop growing?
Vertically.
Even if you hit puberty late, you're unlikely to grow significantly after the ages of 18 to 20. That's according to Google. 18 to 20.
And Google's always right.
But, he's a pro athlete. He's not like us. They're different. If they need to grow to get better, they'll grow to get better. That's what first round picks do. They do what they got to do to get better. Anything else from OTAs, Jesse?
Dak was in his press conference in OTAs, and he kind of openly admitted that this team regressed last year. And that kind of stuck out to me for him to publicly admit, because all last year it was, of course, at the time, no one wanted to admit that this team was regressing. No one wanted to admit that there was a problem happening. Everything was just, we're fine. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. And
yeah, it was no big deal. I mean, just having the best offense in football for 6 weeks, and you could run block, and you could run the ball, and you could protect your quarterback, and everything was amazing. And then the last 10 weeks being the exact opposite. Yeah, no one thought they regressed. Yeah, they were just out there doing normal stuff.
So my question now, I guess, to you is what part did Dak play in that regression? And
most of it.
Do they have what it takes? And I know it's early, and we have all off season to revisit this thing. Football is a fluid sport and situation, and it will change. Things will happen. Injuries will happen. Maybe some signings will happen. Things happen all the time in football. It's a 100% guaranteed injury sport. You just hope that the injury doesn't happen to the main guys. Where does he get the blame for it? And do they have what it takes on this roster currently constructed to fix it?
Well, as a non-hater, I got to tell you,
yeah,
blame is an interesting word, because if you want to say, hey, what is most responsible for the Cowboys' difference from the first half to the second half, the answer is absolutely Dak. Now, did defenses start playing them differently? Yeah. Did they make you try to throw into 7 people in coverage while your offensive line suddenly couldn't protect against a 4-man rush? Yeah, those things happened. But you could have battled all those things if Dak was healthy. Like, the delineating line of when they stopped playing really well was Dak got a calf strain. That was it. And from then on, Dak had his worst 6-week stretch as a pro, and we saw what happened against San Francisco. So the responsibility is Dak's. But I think it's important to clarify, it's not Dak isn't good enough. It's the addition of ankle, shoulder in camp, then calf strain. It messed with him, and he'll never say this because Dak is he's literally learned the scholarly way to be a leader. Like, he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll ever admit that, man, I was kind of messed up mentally and physically. And the best thing that can happen is this offseason, and I'll come back and I'll be feeling great physically, and I'll be distanced enough from all those struggles we were having, and I'll go kick ass. It would be pretty cool if he said all that. But yeah, he is the most responsible. They didn't block well enough. They played the wrong running back too often, even though he was hurt and he's not as good as his backup. Everything went downhill. But number one is the quarterback never bounced back from injury number 3. Never bounced back.
No, I agree with you. I thought that was at the top of the list of things that went wrong. And for me, this was a Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy thing. They never adjusted. Like, they never adjusted what they wanted to do, or I shouldn't say what they wanted to do. They never adjusted to a place of, okay, here's what we're dealing with, right? Here's the facts. The facts are that we have a starting running back that we are going to force to play, or play him in a forceful way, however you want to pronounce it or put it. He really can't run. He has no burst. We have a quarterback who's hurt. And like, they still tried to kind of mosey along the way, like as if nothing was wrong. I thought those things, I'm just like, you have to be able to adjust. Like, you have to be able to say, all right, here are the issues, and how the good ones, the good coaches in this league, the great ones, the ones who don rings and will wear jackets one day with the yellow tint to them, figure out a way to change the way that they move, change the way that they work. And I just felt like, to me, Kellen didn't change it. And I honestly think Mike McCarthy is checked out. Like, I really do think Mike McCarthy is checked out.
Not Freaky Mike.
I know, and that's my guy. But I think he's gotten to the point where he understands, like, one, my job is pretty much over, and two, I do. I think, and it's like if they want the kid to have the reins, and I'm gonna back off, kind of like, it's not my job to coach this kid up. It's not my job to get this kid correct. It's not my job, a la Ryan Tannehill. It's like, hey, listen, it ain't my job to fix, help mentor this kid. You get coaches just like me. So I think Mike McCarthy's come to that point in time where he's just like, I'm just gonna say, you know what, Kellen Moore, do what the hell it is that you do, and I'm just gonna collect my $5 million for this year, and I'll collect it one more next year, and then I'll go back to Wisconsin somewhere and sit on this $20 million that I earned over the last couple of years and just be good.
Now, do you think that is a hater opinion? I don't think that could be a hater opinion because he was your guy. This is you.
That's what I'm saying. Like he was my. No one stood on the table harder than me. No one was on the table harder than. Wait a second.
Pause.
Wait a second. No one stood feet on the table harder than I did for Mike McCarthy.
I don't even think that makes sense as a sentence. Like your feet don't stand hard.
You stomp. That's a hard. Okay. That's a hard stand.
No one stomped for McCarthy the way that you did.
No one stomped for McCarthy as hard as I did. Okay, and this will be the last. This will be the last one that I kind of listening to some of these interviews, and then I'm weird, and I'm always like trying to read in between the lines and trying to sift through all of the media talk, what I know coaches really go through, and what I know really happens in the locker room. And I looked at, are you still on the emails that come out from like the Cowboys? Are you still on those emails?
No, I got fired from that.
All right, cool. All right.
Because they went, well, oh, wait, no, technically I wouldn't have gotten fired from the emails because they just went to the old work address of where I quit. So technically I quit those emails.
Gotcha. So the emails comes out and it gives you kind of a rundown and schedule of the Cowboys when they're going to start training camp, and we're told not to make that public and all that kind of stuff. It's for our planning purposes.
In July.
It also shows,
In July.
Yeah, in July. But it also shows that the Cowboys have planned practices against not one, but two NFL teams that they'll have in training camp this year.
Yeah, because practice is boring. I want somebody else.
Not only that, but to me, that screams, and maybe this is a good sign. Maybe this is a sign that they saw an issue and now they're trying to change the culture. Because between what they drafted in players, and one of the taglines that we've heard from a lot of the players that they've drafted is he's mean, he's nasty, he's physical, he's tough, he's all these things that we thought the Cowboys didn't have. And then now they're going into these training camp practices and they're saying, no, we're not going to we're going to practice against other teams. And they picked one of those teams, which is Denver, that they'll practice against. And to me, it looks at that was a team that came in here and was like, that was one of the first teams that bullied us last year.
Yeah.
And so now they're coming back and they're saying, we're going to practice against the team, almost like we're going to battle our demons. We're going to fight our demons. The team that came in there and bullied us last year, we're now going to load up and fight them now with Russell Wilson at quarterback. Will look a lot different offensively. But I thought that was a good step in the Cowboys making their way to saying, we're not going to be some soft team that you get to push around again next year. We're going to start in training camp. We're trying to get more physical.
I support that. You bring these other teams in because Jerry knows that secretly even other fan bases are Cowboy fans, so he knows they'll be buying merch from his truck. And those teams think they're coming in to get some work in, but secretly you're planning to street fight them. I support this. Sounds like camp will be fun. We're going to need to get our Bleav credentials. Get out there. It's going to be good.
To the street fight.
Maybe Sierra will be there. Sierra, right? Not Ciara. Sierra.
Anywhere that she's at, I would like to be.
Huh?
Anywhere that she's at, I would like to be.
She's a married woman. That's crossing a line, Jesse. So with that said, we're going to leave.
She smells good. I know she smells good. I know she smells like, I don't know. She smells like if smell had a smell, it would be Sierra.
That's former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Holley. You can hear him every Friday around 10:30 Central right here. This is Bleav in the Cowboys. which Jesse never does, which makes it a really weird title, but that's the company's name, so don't worry about it. We appreciate everybody stopping by. This was brought to you by Bet Online, our homies over there. And remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everyone. I love you. Jesse, anything? He did a heart. If you're listening on audio, he made a heart with his hands.
Be kind.